Good morning, everyone. It's Stephen Whiteside here from the uptrend.com with your morning market outlook for Thursday, July 30th, of 2026. In the pre-market this morning, stock index futures are all above fair value. Of course, this is not going to make up for yesterday's losses, but it looks like we're coming into some buying this morning. Commodities are mixed with crude oil down while gold is up on Thursday morning. Now, these numbers are ahead of the economic numbers that are coming out at 8:30, which include U.S. jobless claims, so things could certainly change dramatically after 8:30. Yesterday, I mentioned that we're having lots of problems with the front end of our website, and what we're doing today is moving it to a different service and getting a clean start, seeing if that'll keep the boogeymen away. Otherwise, the back end, which is where all the charts are, is unaffected, different platform, different operating system, and it is still standing, and we don't need to make any changes there. Now, overnight, South Korea stocks continue to move lower, and that usually has a negative effect on the North American semiconductor stocks. We're not seeing that type of movement in the pre-market this morning. Now, after hours, Meta, which is on a sell signal right now, is trading way down there near the 534 level. Of course, any numbers that I show here from the pre-market will be different by the time you see this video. Now, this didn't work out. We're not long Microsoft at the present time as short-term traders, and here we are popping in the pre-market. So on the wrong side of one trade, on the right side of the other. Looking at what worked yesterday, Canadian energy stocks were the big winners. U.S. drone stocks were the big losers, making a new low for this move. SanDisk continued to move lower yesterday, down over 7% on the day. Tesla also broke the $300 level. It closed at 298.32. And you can see our next target to the downside is 281.25. And that is the bottom of our current projected trading range for Tesla on the daily charts. And of course, that doesn't guarantee that we don't break down below the bottom of the projected trading range. It's just what we estimated normal trading activity would be. Then looking at NVIDIA, we traded lower yesterday, new low for this move, but we have not broken the June low so far, and looking at support just below that at 187.50. If that breaks, then 175 is our next target to the downside. I've had a couple of conversations about margin calls, and yes, there have been margin calls, but on individual investors, not institutions, so it's not widespread. Of course, we're far away from setting off any circuit breakers. Last time we had circuit breakers set off, it was back in COVID, March of 2020, I believe. For a circuit breaker to be set off, the market has to be down 7%, and then the market is closed for 15 minutes. Then the next level is 13%. Again, there's a 15-minute close. And if we were down 20% in one day, the U.S. markets would be shut down. We've certainly not got anywhere near that in a long time. 7% is the first level, and yes, yesterday was out of bounds. And what I mean by that is the Dow, and I'm just using it as an example because it's the number most people hear every day. The Dow was down a little over 2%. The average true range right now is 1.15%. We're almost double the average true range. So yes, we were out of bounds yesterday, but not by a significant amount. And 7% on the Dow right now is 3,600 points. Being over 1,000 when you're up at near 50,000 is not that big a deal. We really need to see a down day 2,000 and higher to really set off alarm bells, and that would certainly kick in widespread margin calls, but we are nowhere near that at the moment. Now, the U.S. market is a lot weaker than the Canadian market at the moment, and as you can see, the Nasdaq's currently rated as 0. There's the Russell. The Russell's been on a daily sell signal for a month now, and here we are coming into August, and you can see the Nasdaq has been leading the markets lower. Of course, the Nasdaq led the market higher with those big cap AI stocks, and here we are. It's leading the market lower right now, heading towards our next price target. If that breaks, then 625 is our next target to the downside. And of course, that's not only a daily, but a weekly target. Now, in the Canadian market, the TSX, the Vanguard Canada ETF, so the TSX 60, the composite, both holding up right now. And certainly they're in striking distance of a sell signal, but we are seeing the markets trade higher in the pre-market this morning. Small cap, micro cap stocks not doing well. Yesterday, I talked about a potential bubble in the financial sector and the banking sector. We're nowhere near that when it comes to energy stocks. And I think energy stocks could certainly make higher highs over the next few months if the manipulation that we're seeing in the US market starts to dissipate. But we are going into a midterm election, so there is a lot of market manipulation in the energy sector. So there's the financials. They're back on a sell signal here. And if we look at the weekly chart, weekly panic zone chart, you can see we're up at the top of the panic zones. We were trying to get this ETF to 100, but other traders had other ideas. When it was getting up close to 100, they sold into that. And so far, we haven't been able to hit that $100 target. Now, looking at a monthly chart of this particular ETF, so the banks are within the financial sector. Look at how much this has moved. This is just an incredible move for financial stocks, not so much for the tech sector, but here we are. And as you can see, everything is still blue across the bottom. The first thing I'm looking for weakness, of course, is a weekly close below the previous week's low. We're not seeing that type of activity yet. So no reason to be overly concerned, just something to think about going into the future. Then looking at the weekly flypaper channel chart, you can see that's currently coming up to the $75 level. If we drop straight down from here, that would be a 25% drop, of course. That's not going to happen, so that the flypaper channel is going to continue to move higher weekly. Looking at, of course, is still on a buy signal. The VIX ETFs are still on a buy signal. They don't move in sync with the index. The futures are smoothed out, and so you don't get the same day-to-day activity. What we're looking for here is just an upward trend in the VIX, which will help these ETFs continue to move higher. And of course, if the VIX spikes, you don't know how these particular ETFs are going to react to that, if they're going to spike as well or not. We'll just have to wait and see, but we're long VIX ETFs at the moment. Looking at the TSX Most Actives from yesterday's trading action, TELUS was the big winner on the day, volume-wise, and we ran up to our first price target here. If we can keep going, 1641 is the next target. Canadian Natural Resources still on a buy signal here, and we're not too far away from the May highs, so we may be able to hit that. Might not be on Thursday, and Canadian Natural Resources running up to the first price target here. And 68.75 is our next target to the upside. No joy for Keel Infrastructure, making a new low for this move. We still have Manulife on a buy signal, fairly quiet trading yesterday. No joy for Enbridge. Remember, Enbridge did not get up to this 81.25 level, having trouble at 80. The recent high has been 80.30, so 80 is still a big line in the sand for Enbridge. Looking at Barrick still on a buy signal here, traded lower yesterday, but not enough to give us a sell signal, unlike the Royal Bank, which is on a sell signal at the moment. And if you look down, you can see that the flypaper channel is around the 270 level, so that's the first level that we look for support for the Royal Bank. Looking at a weekly flypaper channel, we're way down there at the 220 level and continuing to move higher weekly. Looking at Equinox, and a lot of the gold charts look like this, and when you look at this chart, you should just shiver. A series of lower highs and lower lows, and there we are making a lower high, and now it looks like we may head down to make another lower low. Kinross looks very similar at the moment. Two pretty ugly charts. BCE moving up on a buy signal now. No change for Suncor. Suncor held up very well over the past few days, so you can see the market really likes this stock, given the fact of how little it has declined over the past week. BlackBerry still on a sell signal here. Yesterday was an inside day, no change there. Moving on to the New York Most Active, starting off with SoFi. There's a new low for this particular move, trying to dip down below the May lows. No change in trend for Intel, making a new low for this move. NVIDIA, we talked about earlier. Then Ford popped yesterday. Now, it was a pop and drop. We ran up. If you had an order in at 1563, it got filled yesterday. 1641, couldn't get there, got as high as 1629. And then there's the bearish reversal signal. We closed lower than we opened. Big reversal day there for Ford. Could possibly be the top for this move. Nokia making a new low on Wednesday. No change there. Inside day for JetBlue. Then we had AT&T pull back. Now AT&T hit our next price target of 25 and then started to pull back with a bearish reversal day. And then, of course, the next day we closed lower. And so that's probably the top for AT&T at this particular time. Then looking up from here, you can see we've got an early warning signal. We were projecting higher prices, but obviously we've got stuck at that $25 price target. Then looking at IREN, and IREN made a new low for this move on Wednesday. American Airlines still on a sell signal. That would change on Thursday with a close above 1536. Then Apple pulled in a bearish reversal day yesterday, but did not close below the previous day's low. 343.75 was our next price target, and we hit that yesterday. So congratulations if you had an order in up there. And then there's the bearish reversal signal. So potential sign of weakness for Apple, but show me a close below the previous day's low. That would be a real sign that something new is happening. Okay, folks, that is all for today's presentation. So far, it looks like the market wants to trade higher at the open, but we still have those big economic numbers coming out at 8:30. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday. Next time you'll hear my voice is on Friday morning.
Thanks for tuning in until the very end of today's stock market timing educational video. If you found the content valuable, don't forget to express your support by hitting the like button, leave a comment, sharing with your friends, and subscribing to our channel for more insightful updates. Remember, in the world of stocks, timing is crucial, and following the trend can be your greatest ally. If you would like more information on how we can help you better time the stock market, please visit theyuptrend.com.